All right, finally, moving to the professional experience. It's the very key section on your resume, and that's why I think it's deserve the most of the time to restructure or rewrite or build on content. It's also the key part that could distinguish yourself from others, and it's where you got to be decided whether you deserve the next round in assessment. Because it's very critical, I personally think in length, this part should take more than half of the page. I know that many of you are building up your Chinese resume by converting it from your English version. And it's not a bad approach, I would say, since you have gone through all the experience and dig out everything in your story in preparation for your resume. In your English resume, it will prepare you in a good place to start. So if you have no clues on Chinese resume, it's actually a not bad idea to revisit your English resume and stories you put together. For anyone who is in the process of converting your English resume into Chinese, you will probably find a very obvious problem that your text is becoming shorter. Your English version originally looked pretty busy. It's a busy page, and the text that takes over all the space on this page and making the paragraph looks pretty solid. But after you directly translate the text, like all of a sudden it opens up the blank space everywhere. I tried to translate, these are the translations I drew through from a random example. Let's take a close look to the third bullet. You can see on the English version, the bullet takes over 2.5 lines, almost 2.5 lines, but its direct translation in Chinese only takes a little bit more than 1 line. It's due to the different language character and features. The translated Chinese text is significantly shortened. Therefore, instead of simply translating the text from English to Chinese, you need to be prepared to elaborate or add details into the description and making it into a more solid looking Chinese translation or Chinese rewrite up. And we're doing this not only to fill in all the blanks to make the statement longer and make the pages busy again. I think it's also a great opportunity that allows more space on the resume to present more good things about you. I mean, we heard about complaints about how one page limit is not enough to demonstrate all the good things about self. But then now the space has been squeezed for you to showcase. Isn't that a good thing? And I also think in China, the recruiters and hiring managers would expect to see more details about your past experience other than a few keywords or action words. They want to see details as many as possible to help them assess if you are a right fit. So in terms of how to elaborate, how to rewrite, 2 golden method here still applies. The STAR method and to leverage the power of numbers to quantify your achievement. I'm pretty sure this has been well covered in the WCC courses, so I did not plan to talk about it further here. I just used examples on last pages and try to improve the translations of that bullet point with those 2 rules. Well, those informations, I just made it up, but with all the numbers and details added, I believe you get a sense of how the statement could become stronger and more convincing than both the original English version and Chinese translation. So before you get your hands on rewriting the experience, it's worth a quiet hour with a cup of tea with yourself to go back to your experience and dig out some more details. And those details will likely be used when you are spending time rewriting all those experience. Another golden rule in resume writing or job searching in general is the principle of relevance, which I cannot emphasize enough. I noticed that when most of students write resumes, they simply list what they have done in the past in a general way. I think a better or a more effective approach is to put yourself into the shoe of hiring manager and recruiters to understand what kind of person they're looking for, and then shape yourself into this framework. Of course, this will require you to read the JD carefully and do your research, also catch the keywords and make them reflected in your description in some way. Some of you also ask about if TA experience or course project can be included in the professional experience section. I think relevance is a great angle to think from. For example, is your TA experience highly relevant to the job you're applying for? Or with this course or TA experience, did you gain skills or competency that this job requires? Or did you practice or teach on the tool that will be used on these jobs? Ask yourself all those questions and it will help you make the decision on what experience to put down. Also, you don't have to worry about if it's not a full-time work experience, if it's qualified to be put down in the professional experience. For entry-level jobs, I think companies have a realistic expectation on types of experience that fresh graduates have. Also, in many cases, the nature of a course project or a TA project is close to a real-world project at work. So if you have solid experience at work, I think you are trusted by the company to at least have something good to start with. And last thing to point out about professional experience is to add explanatory notes or descriptions when you translate specific terms that might not be known or familiar for Chinese reviewers. For example, I know many accounting students are members of this association called Beta Alpha Sign, which I only knew after they told me about. Similarly, it probably doesn't make much sense to Chinese recruiters. So when you translate this term, consider translate it into a descriptive line or phrase with more information about this association to help them understand what this association is about and how you are a better, stronger, a more fit candidate with experience at this association. And the same applies with some great companies in the US or St. Louis that only know at a regional or national level.